$84,000 a year. It could be costing you if you don't have the right lead generation and marketing system in place. So if you're not getting consistent, predictable leads, predictable clients, predictable income every year, it could be costing you $84,000. Now, how do I get to $84,000? You're probably wondering. Well, as a person who's been working with financial planners and advisors for the last 5.5 years, the financial planners that have been, let's say, charging $3,500 at bare minimum for a plan, I've used that particular number. So if you're not bringing one new client every month at a bare minimum of $3,500 for that particular client a year, you are leaking $42,000. But on average, most of the time, I'm looking at solving an $84,000 problem. And what I mean by that is bringing on two new clients every month for my clients, right? So they are at 24 clients extra every year. Now that doesn't even include recurring income whatsoever. So even if you're probably doing on the, let's say it's 5,000 or 10,000 per client per year, in that those numbers, that 84,000 is a bare minimum that you are leaking right now. Now, this is purely having the right system in place to give you that predictable income and consistent lead flow. And hey, that peace of mind, and your life changes. Like one new client changes lifestyle every month, but two new clients is where dreams are made of. And I know this from a lot of my clients. One of my clients, he went from, $3,000 a month to like 30K, and all of a sudden everything's changed. His lifestyle's changed. He's buying experiences that he never thought would ever be possible. He's buying himself a lot of toys as well at the same time and enjoying life. This is life changing. And this is why it's so important that you fix your $84,000 problem right now in your business. So you may already have a couple of clients coming in using different strategies, but today I want to share with you how to go about identifying where are the constraints in your business, where are the frictions, and how to solve it. Now, I've made a couple of notes here that I want to refer to, but I also want you to do yourself a favor, download there's a link down below, download the guide over there and follow through. So just pause me, download it, and let's get into it. So, like I said, I've made a couple of notes here, but I want to give you everything. So, first thing you want to do is identify what are the skills and knowledge you need in order to fix the problems in your lead and marketing system. And the way to close that gap and the way to, I guess, break that cycle from where you are right now. And let's say you don't have enough leads and you just, it's inconsistent, you're using kind of hope strategies. This is how I would go about doing it. So there's three key areas. The framework that I like to use is MAS, M-A-S. M stands for mindset. You need to push through the fears and the self-doubt that is happening right now. So maybe you're too scared to get in front of the camera. Maybe you're too scared to send that direct message. These are the things that is stopping you from basically building the business you want. And by fixing this friction, which is so important, it could make the biggest difference. The A stands for action. In order to progress, you need to change some of the behaviors that you're currently doing. And you want to have the right behaviors and right action in place in order to make things happen. The S stands for skills. And this is really, really important for me. You need to have some marketing skills to help you generate the leads and generate the clients, generate the income that you want. When you know what skills that you need and you understand how to go about implementing those skills, it makes the biggest difference. This is why I know that I solve an $84,000 problem for clients. It's because when they work with us, that's what I'm trying to help them do, is to add an extra 84,000K into the business. Now, where you are right now is a actual reflection of how well your marketing is going. It's also based on where your mindset's at, where's the actions required and behaviors, and the skill set. So what we need to do is fix the marketing system. So there's four key stages in your marketing system. So the first key stage is awareness, right? Now, when I say awareness, this is where people don't know you. And the key thing that you want to do is get yourself out there so more people get to know you. You start building a community. And the way to do that is to have the right message in place. And when I say message, is how do you communicate to your audience? How do you position yourself so you start attracting rather than chasing clients? And I like to use a really simple framework called the 6 Ps. One is problem. So be very specific on the problem that you solve. Then think about the pain. What are the pains that you're trying to help your that you can identify firstly, and how can you help them overcome that towards which is the next P called pleasure. So how do we help go from pain to pleasure? And then the next one is around process. What's your unique process for helping people overcome their problem and overcoming the pain towards their pleasure? And then what you want to be focusing on is the person. Now, when I say the person, a lot of people get this the other way. They start off with the person first and go with all the demographics and psychographics of the person. And really, that just opens up a whole lot of, honestly, terrible marketing. So if you approach it from problem, pain, pleasure, and the person, you can then, so process, I should say, you can then work out who you can actually serve to get the best result. Then the last P is basically the path that you choose. So where is like what are the channels you're gonna be using? What's the marketing message you want to get out there? Once you understand that those 6 Ps, you can create that message and it makes it so much easier to communicate and attract the right type of people. So that's your awareness part. So you really what it's about, the awareness part is about getting the attention of your ideal audience. So the next one is connection. This is where you want to be not only known, you want to be liked and you want to be engaged. And what I mean by engaged is having engagement with people through things such as content, right? When you put content out there, you want to have some sort of engagement. And not like when I say engagement, I'm not just talking about the likes and the comments. I'm more interested in the conversations you have, right? The direct messages. One of the things that most financial planners out there they never do is actually message people in the DMs at all. And I think this is one of the biggest holes that you can close so quickly in order to get to $84,000 a year. Now, when it comes to your content has a couple of jobs. It's to attract the right type of people, but it's also there to repel those people that aren't your ideal clients. Because most people think, oh, I'm not talking to the right people. This is where you need to be very clear with your message when it comes to content. But that's the key thing when it comes to content. Everyone's doing education type content. Now, it's great, but let's face it, these days, people go to ChatGPT and even Google has its own AI to give you some answers. Now, it may not be correct, but this is where people are going to get information. This is where they're going to get educated from. And I know you probably used it there. You've probably also used it in order to create content. Now, if you start going down the path of just creating and just educating people, it's not going to cut it. What you want to be doing is talking more about your point of view. Give people the reasons on why you think this is a really good strategy or why that strategy doesn't work for everyone, and go into detail into that. When you start shifting people's beliefs by giving your point of view, you're going to open up the right type of clients coming to you. Now, the other key thing when it comes to content, you want to be talking a lot about character content. What I mean by character content is basically who you are. I encourage my clients to, when they first started creating content, because I know it's so difficult, is to go with a 70-30 split. What I mean by 70-30, 70% about you. So make the content all about you, your lifestyle. I've got a client who's, loves snorkeling. He'll do that. Hiking, do that. Fitness, all those different things. So you want to be talking and really building your character on social media. And then you can do the other 30% around the educations, talking about case studies and things like that. Now, along with this particular connection stage, you want to also run ads. Now, most people don't realize how cheap it is to run an ad these days. Literally, I think it costs $5.20 in the US for a Starbucks coffee, a good one, let's say. $5.20. If you just spend that per day, that's how easy it is to build the followers, build a community, and actually sign up clients. Now, you don't have to spend $5 every day. You could do it for 3-4 days a week. That should be enough to get you to have conversations. Now, which leads us to stage number 3, which is trust. In trust, so we know people know us, now they like us, now we need to get them to trust us. How do we get that to happen? We need to provide value to our prospects and to our audience. This way, they get to understand who we are. Not only that, they need to understand that we understand them. And this empathy part is probably forgotten a lot. But when you can start talking about pain and pleasure and understanding, and talking to them so they know that you understand them better than what they understand themselves, they are more likely to engage with your content and start having those conversations. Because the key part of trust is you want to move people to having conversations as much as possible. Now, yes, I've got an entire process on how to move people from, putting content out there to having conversations. You can check out some of my previous YouTube videos, which I'll put a link below as well. But one of the key things is what most financial planners do in the stage is try to automate everything. They're running email sequences like some sort of fancy funnel to kind of um, filter out their leads. That is such a big problem. For me, you want to have direct conversations. But I'm always, excuse me a second, grabbing my mobile phone and I'm messaging people and things like that. So it makes it so much easier to work out if they're the right fit. But generally, your content should drive them into conversation. And then once you build trust, and again, another quick way of building trust is sharing case studies or sharing insights into problems you've already fixed. And maybe sometimes the results, you may not be able to disclose the person's name, but you can talk about it, maybe even show a photo of someone on a boat or something like that, like they bought their dream boat, all those different things, or their dream house. All those little things help because people associate, hey, that result with you. That is, again, a massive way of building trust really quickly. The other thing that I love to build trust quickly is to start creating long form videos like I'm doing today. Now, social media is great in terms of, that 90 seconds. You can put a reel together, you can put a photo and write text and all that. That's great to give them a bit of a flavor, like a teaser. But the long form content and what I'm sharing in YouTube build so much more deeper trust. They get a better understanding of the feel or the person that I'm at, the information, my style, and hey, it may gel, it may not gel. That's totally cool. But that way, it actually builds a lot of trust. Now, let's move on to the last stage. Now they trust you, we want them to buy from you. But before they buy from you, we want to book them into your calendar, right? This is what it's all about. We get them into a calendar, we can have face-to-face conversations or having conversations via Zoom or something similar like that. And the way to do it is actually to frame the call. So when you're in conversation with them, you want to frame the call. And I'll give you a couple of key things here. You want to show people that if they jump on a call with you, there's specific outcomes for that particular call. And you don't need to tell them everything on what they need to do, but just talk about the process that you're going to help them through. So this goes back to the first thing that I talked about in terms of really understanding the problem, the pain, and the process. So you start talking about the process and how you're going to help them overcome that pain towards their pleasure. You can even show your blueprint if you have one to them in this opportunity. So you want to frame that call and then you want to make it no pressure at all, right? I always like to say you want to be able to serve rather than sell people. So when you show them, here are the key things you need to be working on. Here are here's a process and or a roadmap or a blueprint that you can follow. This is where I see you right now. These are the problems you're going to incur going down the track. That's going to help make them feel so much easier, so much more comfortable making a decision to work with you. See, once we've got those 4 stages, so I'll just repeat those stages again. We've got the first stage, which is awareness, which is get people to know you, like you. So know you. Then we're going to create a connection, which is more about people actually liking and engaging with you. Then we're going to build trust, and trust is exactly what it is, giving them value, having deep conversations. And then the next one is buy, where we've got to move them into the last stage for them to book a meeting with you. See, most of the friction and reasons you don't have leads and clients comes down to a lack of skills, lack of knowledge, and your mindset. Every client that I've worked with, this is why we work on the mindset first up is, and I've helped clients go from having a scarcity mindset to jumping into the program, building confidence. One is they have confidence in the marketing system, but more importantly, they have confidence in themselves, which overcomes all that imposter syndrome, that self-doubt that they've had in the past. They work with me to help them overcome that, get the confidence, and then they can build the business they want. It makes it a little bit easier because they're leading more with their heart. They feel a little more comfortable, getting themselves out there. This is so key because when you do that and you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the mindset, you will be able to grow your business to the next level. Now, I know I've shared with you the 4 stages. I've also given you the key areas on, things that's really lacking in most businesses, which is, yes, skills, knowledge, and mindset. If you can put all them together, you will build the most awesome business. And this is taken from someone who's worked with financial planners and advisors for the last 6 years. I've seen clients go from $3,000 to $30,000 a month. I've seen clients go from 15,000 to 50. One of our clients is doing, $90,000 a month. That's a month. That's not 84,000. That's a month, $90,000 a month using very simple, easy marketing strategies, but they can all stem from these 4 stages. So when you fix those 4 stages, you build it. Hey guys, look, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to download the document. And if you want more help, hit me up in the DMs or make a comment on YouTube and we can touch base.